And the hustlers that you represent are looking around the numbers that we are discussing today, and they're wondering, where have we missed this? Because on one end, you're asking Kenyans to be, to bear with government, to tighten their belts. The Treasury is saying things are bad. You're saying you're preventing us from, going off the cliff. But on the other end, the extravagance in government is really still heavy. How do you reconcile these two situations?
I will answer you this way. Go and look at the budget. We have cut by 50% the budget for travel and entertainment. 50%, right? In the supplementary budget, just go and check the figures. That is about 11 billion shillings that we have reduced. Have I traveled more than the former presidents? Yes. And I have traveled not as a tourist. I have traveled to sort out the matters of Kenya. If I didn't package what I have packaged to salvage our country from going over the cliff, we'd be talking a different story. Would you rather I sit in Nairobi and see Kenya go down, or would you rather I go to America, and America has really supported us in making sure that we structure a deal with World Bank and IMF? Would I travel to China to make sure that we structure the bilateral deal that will see all our roads come back? Would you rather I don't travel, or I travel to South Korea to sort out the problem you see in our electricity space? That we now have money to do what the investment we have not done in the last 10 years in our energy transmission. The reason why you find the blackouts, and is the challenge we have with our transmission infrastructure. And I have found resources to now sort that out. So would you rather I sit here, or I look for the bilateral agreements that will give Kenyans an opportunity to work abroad and to work at home on digital jobs? This is what a president is supposed to do. And I can account for every shilling that I have spent on my travel. And let me say this. On the budget of State House, there were so many things around the State House, including the famous NMS. Part of the money that was being allocated to State House was to pay contracts, NMS contracts, and many other things, which I have said must stop. And because I want to lead the way in making sure that we manage what eventually is destroying our country, called bending bills. And for your information, we have 506 billion of pending bills. I need to lead the way. That's why I instructed staff in State House that State House must be the first one to clear pending bills. Most of the monies that have come here is to sort out NMS and all the other people that were here. And I have said those infrastructure should be transferred to the parent ministries. State House must deal with State House matters.
Mr. President, we've spoken about three issues. We've spoken about the Kenya shilling and how it's behaving against the major currencies, global currencies. We've spoken a bit of energy and what is happening in the field sector. We also touched on cost of living. We have so much to cover tonight, and I just seek indulgence that we can be first in our responses, but also the questions. That question that you say we were on a cliff, debt cliff, and now we are no longer there. Recently, you posted on your X account, and you said that the World Bank is giving us 2 trillion shillings for the next 3 years. The IMF is giving us over 680 billion shillings. That, in total, is about 2.6 trillion shillings, based on the current exchange rate. Now, part of the reason why our debt is beyond the ceiling that was of 10 trillion shillings by June next year is because of what has happened to the US dollar. If you add what you've gotten from the two global institutions, it takes us to close to 13 trillion shillings already in the next 3 years. Why then have a debt anchor of 55% to the GDP, which are already busting?
For your information, And it's a very good question you've asked. Most of that money we have negotiated will actually replace. We are getting money at 2-3%. We are replacing it with money we are paying 15-16%. And the killer on our debt is the interest, the amounts of interest we are paying. It's not even the principal that is a big problem. It is the amount of interest we are paying. Because if you are paying interest at 16% at some point, that is what is destroying our economy. So we are not necessarily increasing the debt portfolio. We are substituting debt that is expensive just so that it is manageable, and then it can give us the space to be able to grow our economy. That is the context. Mm-hmm. So what the international community have supported me to do is to replace the Eurobond, which is $2 billion. Yeah, $2 billion of very expensive money at 20%, with money that we can manage at 2-3%. That is the difference. And by just doing that, we will save on the 7 shillings we are paying for every 10 we collect to pay debt. That will significantly come down. So that is what that's what I am doing, because that is what is feasible as we talk, as I embark on growing the economy. And growing the economy is investing in the right place, making sure that our agricultural production is up to the scale. It is the reason why I am improving the whole agriculture chain. I'm building 400 markets. I promised Mama Mboga that they will do a business in a good place. Building 400 markets. I am building 47 county aggregation and industrial parks to add value, to process, so that we get more value from our production. And if you saw this, this is when